Origins marks the new premium chapter in the hugely popular Armory Deck series. But is it a premium product, or more aptly, the premium product we didn't know we wanted? Let's discuss. I'm going to try today's video a little bit differently. I'm going to use bullet points instead of an exact script, so feedback is welcome for this, as always. Anyways, to jump right in, Jarl, Carl, however you say his name, was announced on the 5-year anniversary stream, and it looks like over time there was a lot of subtle hints in different cards, such as Mangle and the other cards that this individual has appeared on over the course of, I guess, the 5 years that LSS has published cards for this game. And, you know, what's interesting about this is the Armory Deck, which I'll go ahead and put on screen here, is called the Armory Deck Origins Jarl Vetreidi. Jarl. I'm going to say Jarl because there was an old Mage Knight game. I'll put a screen of that up here as well. It's called the Dwarven Jarl. It was a little like Fusilier looking guy, and I'm just going to say Jarl now. Anyways, he comes to the fray, and the quotes from the article, which was published on LSS's site, says it packs immense value with the debut of 10 new cards, 23 Majestics, and an all-new legendary equipment piece. We're going to come back to that in just a second because that is actually kind of an interesting component. So I asked the question, is this like a DLC or a premium DLC in like a game that you would typically play online, such as World of Warcraft, StarCraft, various expansions over time, right? When you look at a card game, I'm not trying to say that this is a DLC, and not in a derogatory way, not like a loot box kind of thing, but what I'm talking about with this is this allows them to drop, hence the download, or drop the content, maybe you should just say a drop ship, drop box. They can drop in a new hero at any point in time they choose, so long as they have these. Like if they were to design 10 of these decks from 10 random characters that are in the Fab universe, that are in the classes that exist, they might be able to just boop, drop that right on in, and all of a sudden you have a new hero. So we're going to read this little excerpt from their article here. It does say, delve into the story behind Wraith's most fearsome hero with an all-new Armory Deck Origins. Making his debut is Jarl Vetreidi, an elemental guardian who can shatter the opponent's equipment and freeze their exposed flesh. So, thematic as hell. Obviously, it kind of fills that what once was Old Hymn location. So there's that. It says, ready to play out of the box, equipment and everything you need to dive into classic constructed. And it's titled Armory Deck Origins, Jarl Vetreidi brings the biting cold to your next Armory event. So that's interesting for a couple things. They are very much homing in that this Armory Deck is not one of their base Armory decks like the Dash Armory Deck. I have one back there. I'm not going to try to grab it. But the Armory decks that are the 4 that have been released so far, this will be the 5th. But technically, is it really in the same line? It's actually an Armory Deck Origins. So the Armory Deck Origins includes brand new cards designed specifically made for the debuting hero. Debuting is a keyword here. So this is really like an introduction, obviously, to this character in the ecosystem of Flesh and Blood. In addition, many foundational cards for their classes and talents. So we already know there's a wide pool of cards that are out there that exists, but it sounds like there's going to be reprints and new cards, which is what they spell out. Now, they do talk about another part of this. It says an ideal way to pick up an Armory event, local game stores across the world. So I have a couple things about this. So my notes on here say the game store shelves in the place for this product. So when you think about it, game store space, most places it's kind of limited to some extent. So your product suite is now grown. You've added another chapter, so to speak. So you have First Strike decks. That's your new, premium numero uno onboarding for new players. You have Blitz, which is like kind of like the one step up. Technically, the First Strike is a Blitz deck. We're not going to get into that argument right now. Then you have the Armory decks, which are the current Armory level competitive style. Then you have the Armory Origins, which is one step higher. And then you have the UPF and Classic Battles kind of thing. Classic Battles probably is, discontinued, defunct at this point. And then you have your standard booster boxes. So that's the whole product suite that I understand that exists today. Now, when you think about differences or different things here, the Armory Deck Origins, first and foremost, it is at a higher price point. I do want to point that out. I did not say that to this point, but it is going to be $59.90, and we're going to come back to that in a topic in a second. So it's higher than the $39.90, which is I'm just going to call it $40 and $60 respectively. The regular Armory decks are about 40. They come in a box with just saran wrap, absolutely no additional items on the inside, right? Just the raw cards themselves, semi-protected in a plastic or cardboard thing inside of the box. Now you have this deck, which is going to be a premium-ish, premium-ish thing, whatever you want to call it. That is going to be one step up at now the $70-ish price point, 60 to 70. I'm assuming 70 because that's what TCG Player pre-sales are happening. They're already in that ballpark. So there's some concern I have personally about whether or not the availability of this, and I've heard rumors, I won't name names, but somebody has kind of politely told me that the availability of this deck, because it's a brand new hero, right? People don't already had Dash, already had, you know, parts for that, already had Bolton, already had Azalea, already had KO. This is completely fresh. The only way currently to get this hero and play this hero is to have this hero in this deck currently, until possibly Mastery Pack Guardian. Maybe that might be a thing. Who knows? So, next to my talking points, we have this may not be for new players, and that's okay. And I would believe that that statement is probably where this product is directed toward. This is not your First Strike. This is not your Armory. They've rebranded this product suite as a subset of that called Armory Origins. Now, I'm going to go back to the Blitz deck collections, right? You have these Blitz deck collections here. Those, new friendly, you get a playmat, you get the things, you get packs, you get all sorts of neat stuff in it. This looks like it's in the same form factor that is the current Dash IO deck, meaning ergo, I do not believe they have modified these decks to include the things that I believe would aid in what people need to say is more value. This, going back to this, is the first 100% guaranteed legendary. So never, ever, ever in the game of Flesh and Blood, if I open this box on camera, which might as well for this video do, this is Everfest, right? So, you know, Everfest was a product that was a supplementary set, right? So this is a supplementary box. See what I tied that in there, right? So if this Everfest box is a supplementary set and this Armory deck is a supplementary Armory deck because it is designed to come in and allow you to play this new hero as a like an add-on DLC, whatever, in this pack, there is no guarantee of any particular rarity or item, right? So inside of this pack, now that I've opened it, right, you get these cards in this case. Now, did I get anything of merit? I got a cold foil. Oddly, that was hilarious. And a foil Majestic. Okay, so while that pack was excruciatingly great, on a scale of 1 to 10, that's about a 9 for that set. Wow, did not expect that as the result there. But that is just to show that there are no guarantees, right? The next pack will probably be nowhere near as good. The rest of that box will probably be nowhere near as good. But in this product, in this sealed package, you are getting your first guaranteed legendary card. Legendary being the second or third highest rarity tier, depending on where you're talking, right? Fabled is up top, Marvel's below that, or Marvel's may even be above Fabled, depending on how you approach your order of hierarchy. Then you have, you know, your legendary. So legendaries typically were reserved for cards that were very, very powerful. Now, what's interesting is that because it's a first guaranteed legendary, the product name is also targeting a different crowd. It's a new era as these heroes come into play. The introductory of this allows, like I said earlier, heroes from outside of main sets. The price increase is there. Now we're going to talk about the math. I did some baseline math. I can, if I really need to, take some screenshots of this. But what you get in this is you get 23 Majestics and 1 legendary card based on what I have understood from the data sheet in the Jarl. That's the Japanese one. Cannot read that. Sorry, wish I could, but I cannot. That is a, on me thing. You will get 23 Majestics and an all-new Legendary. Mathematically speaking, the price increase of this deck is astonishing value for what is in this deck. When you look at the L's in the game, there are a total of 75 that I calculated on this list so far. And if you bought every single one of them, it's over $3,200 something. If you average that out, it's about $43.74 per Legendary on average. If you drop the top 10 most expensive, and my cat is killing somebody, or somebody is killing my cat, I don't know which. If you, what is happening? Who is murdering who? If you drop the top 10 highest value and lowest value from that list, that drops that overall average to $35.82. And if you were to just do the average minus the 10% rule, so if I take those legendaries and take 10%, so 8, and remove the top 4 and bottom 4, that averages down to about $40.18. So even at the absolute lowest value, if this deck was $50 and you got one legendary, at the value of the deck, when you look at the actual legendary dollar amount, you are basically getting, I guess, when you average everything and you take the top 4, or I should say top 10%, which is 4 the most expensive, 4 least expensive, it's $40. That means that right off the cusp, if the average legendary is $40, just throughout the whole game of Flesh and Blood, from regardless of set at this point, because everything's random from boxes, is the first guaranteed, that is 81% of the $50 value right then and there, period. That's the average. I get that that's not everything, but if this becomes even an average usable card, it's a $40 legendary. Now, let's talk about the Majestics. Same thing. There are 534 Majestics. The average, if you average them all out, is $3.42. Min-max with the top 10, or taking out the top 10, lower 10, you're at $2.59. And if you really want to get crazy, if you take out 10% of the overall most expensive, least expensive, that's a total of 50 total cards, give or take between that. 55 is really the number. You're down to about $2.15 per card. Which means that if you get 23 Majestics at the absolute lowest end, you're getting $49.41 of value, which is 99.9% of the value of the product you're paying. So when you add that and the other one together, you're getting easily over 120, 140% of the value of the cards just in those slots, nixing anything else in the box. So this is insane value in the box, and I don't want to hear anybody say that it's not, because I want you to, if you're selling your Majestics and you're going to put them on TCG Player for 25 cents and 50 cents, send me an email, www.geeksfirst.com/contacts, or go ahead and email me at geeksfirstllc@gmail.com. I will be buying those from you, because I'll buy Majestics at 50 cents and 25 cents all day long, every day, because sooner or later, some hero's going to pop off and they will not be 50 cents. So, end of statement there. Anyways, when I start looking at this further down the line, you know, there's a lot of pros here. So, this is the answer to any possible hero gap that may exist, which means that those heroes can fill any living legend piece. And the part that I'm most excited about, and that is in the final parts of this essay that I'm going over here, is that you have a grand total of, you know, this magical new, you know, hero, and you get lore, L-O-R-E, lore. You actually get, there's a square on here that says learn more coming soon. So lore, that will be exciting to read, because lore is always exciting. The next and last couple of parts in here, speculation on something, you know, some of these cards may be in the Mastery Pack. Maybe they'll be exclusive to this product, which will retain its value. So I would say if you're planning on being in the game long term, seriously pick one up, because even the Majestics are legendary at this point, because this is the only way to get them, assuming they're unique. If they're reprints, right, they could be reprints of History Pack, whatever. So those reprints will follow the reprint policy. So if it's an existing card, it won't be rainbow foil, it'll be non-foil. So those are things to consider. Now, it does say it's only 60 cards, hero, weapons, and token, which means I had in my hopes that they would have a paper rulebook, a playmat, maybe some tokens, some sleeves, or a sideboard. Apparently, they're not going to have that. My last major hope would be, again, Arcane Barrier or some sort of null room is kind of a must, because, again, you're going to face Arcane, especially with Aurora and other heroes that are out there. So anyways, that is everything for this video. Hopefully, you know, Jarl looks exciting. I'm excited. I can't wait to dive into the lore. Can't wait to see what comes from. Otherwise, you know, like, share, subscribe, hit that bell, do the thing. And if you like this style of content, let me know, and I will see you on the next one. So until next time, may your games be fun and your friendships grow. Cheers. Origins marks the new premium chapter. Now I'm going to try today's video a little bit differently. I'm going to use bulletproof